What is up YouTube? What's going on? It's Sumit from Melodynamics, and today this video is going to be about music production basics, and that is beat making for beginners. And if you're just starting or wanting to learn the basics, this lesson might be helpful to you. So most beginners run FL Studio and then they just randomly play around this channel rack and get stuck. Well, there's no any rule with regards to this. You can do whatever you like. FL Studio gives you ample options to do the same thing. You can manually fill in these steps or choose one of these options. And there it goes, I've made it. But I will show you a correct guideline as to how you can do it properly. Well, first, every beat starts with a timing. First of all, make up your mind or imagine that beat you want to achieve. Think clearly how you want that beat to sound and feel. You can imagine a specific groove, vibe of that groove, and you can just nod your head up and down, or you can tap your foot on the ground for timing. After an idea has clicked inside your head, head over to this tempo tapper here and tap repeatedly to match the exact timing of the beat you've just previously imagined. Also decide in which time signature that beat is going to be. Let me give you a quick example. Go to Options and click Project General Settings. This numerator option or top number indicates that there are exactly 4 beats in every single measure or bar, and this denominator or bottom number indicates that a quarter note receives exactly 1 beat. By default, I'm explaining about the 4x4 time signature because that's the most common one and it can also be understood easily by all. If I change this numerator to 6 and denominator to 8, that gives me 6x8 time signature. The same principle is applied, but just with a different timing. Top number, there are 6 beats in every measure. The bottom number, the 8th note or quaver, gets 1 beat. I'm not going to explain in detail about those whole to 64th note theories right now. Maybe in some other video. As for now, let's get back to our most common and simple time signature, that is 4x4. So after I've figured out my desired beat and timing, I can simply fill in these drum samples. But before doing so, let me show you how I achieve dynamics in beat making or drum programming. If anyone out there who doesn't know what dynamics in music is, it's basically just a volume of a sound or note for creating variation in a song. It's there to add tension, emotion, or to release emotion. Just like hills and mountains, they're not just simply plain and flat. Some slopes can be high, while others can be low. Similarly, let me program this kick drum for you while also maintaining its dynamics. I want my first beat to sound strong, so I'm gonna increase its velocity. Now I can do that in 2 ways. Either I can right-click this kick sample, select piano roll and increase or decrease its velocity from here, or I can just right-click and select graph editor and increase or decrease velocity from here. Either way, they do the same thing. Now, I want my second kick to sound the weakest. So, I will lower its velocity the furthest from all. I want my third kick to sound still weak, so I'm gonna raise its velocity slightly above the weakest. Finally, I want my fourth beat to sound medium strong, so I will raise its velocity slightly above my weak one. After that, it's just a loop. You can turn metronome on and off for correct timing. After I've programmed my kick, next comes hi-hat. I think hi-hats play a crucial role in adding dynamics to a beat, so it is very important you program it correctly. I want my first hat to sound the strongest, so I will raise its velocity the highest. I want my second hat to sound weak, so I'm gonna lower its volume, let's say up to here. I want my third hat to sound medium strong, so I'm gonna raise its velocity just above the weak one. And I want my fourth hat to sound the weakest, so I'm gonna further lower its velocity just below the second hat or weak one. After that, I'm gonna right-click my hat and select Piano Roll option. What I can do now is left-click and highlight all this. Press Ctrl-C on my keyboard, copy all this and just paste it over here. Cause after making the first 4, everything after that is a loop. After I'm done with hi-hat, I want my snare to sound powerful and consistent along the whole beat, so I'm gonna raise every hit velocity to the same level. Now I've got a consistent and dynamically rich beat. I've made this beat in the same pattern, that is pattern 1, to make it easier for you to understand. Also, what you can do is fill in the samples individually by selecting different patterns. For example, press F5 and go to the playlist. Since everything I've programmed here from kick to snare is in the same pattern, that is pattern 1, when I press Alt-B on my keyboard and select Paint Brush to add to the playlist, it paints the whole sample, that is, kick, hi-hat and snare as one whole event. If you double-click this pattern in search of all the samples, you'll only find the kicks, so this can get confusing. If you want all of your samples to be visible in the playlist, what you can do is clear all this and let the kick be as it is. Since there's only kick now in pattern 1, this is going to be your solo kick sample. Now go to the playlist and paint pattern 1, that is, your kick. You can also right-click here and rename kick. Now before programming your hi-hat, scroll your mouse wheel up here in this pattern selecting area and select a fresh empty pattern, that is pattern 2. Now let's fill in the spaces of our hi-hat. Then in the playlist with pattern 2 selected, just simply paint below the kick. You can also rename this hi-hat. Similar to the kick, I want my snare separate, so I'm gonna go here in this pattern selection area, scroll my mouse wheel up and select a fresh pattern, that is pattern 3, and program my snare. Now still in pattern 3, I'm gonna paint my snare just below the hi-hat. I'm gonna rename this snare. Well, there I have it, all of my samples separate. Arranging this way helps to avoid confusion, and it's also much easier for the mixing engineers as opposed to merged samples into one. Now let's copy all these 4 times. Say we have our verse up to 4 bars, and after that, pre-chorus starts and we want to change our drum beat. In order to do that, press and hold Shift key on your keyboard, and then left click and drag. Again with the next one too. Or you can simply go to the individual pattern and just paint it. Since pattern 1 has kick, so paint kick. Now select pattern 2 and paint hi-hat. Select pattern 3 to paint the snare. Let's modify this beat for pre-chorus. The first method is select a fresh pattern, say pattern 4. Come back to the channel track. I'm gonna quickly program kick and see what I get. Make sure to turn on metronome for accurate timing. Let's select pattern 5 for a new pre-chorus hi-hat. Now let's modify snare. Let's select pattern 6 for snare as well. Altogether, we've got a different beat for our pre-chorus. Now let's paint it in the playlist. Since pattern 3 is already occupied, scroll your mouse wheel down to pattern 4 to paint pre-chorus kick. Make sure to paint it 4 times. Now scroll up here in this pattern selection area and select pattern 5 to paint hi-hat. Come back to this pattern selection area, scroll up and select pattern 6 to paint the snare. Well, there we have it, our verse and pre-chorus. you can arrange a whole song using any song structure format in the similar way. If you don't want to deal with multiple patterns, you can simply delete all these, leave the first 3, head over to the channel rack, clear all the patterns except 1, 2 and 3. Go to pattern 1, that is the kick. Click this sample, go to piano roll and then just copy the first beat 3 times, since verse is up to 4 bars. After doing this, create a different kick beat. Let's say how about this one? And copy paste 3 times. Same with the hi-hat. Select pattern 2, click this sample, go to piano roll, copy this hi-hat 3 times and after that, change the hi-hat beat and copy paste 3 times. Same with the snare. Select pattern 3, click this snare sample, go to piano roll, copy paste the first part 3 times. After that, create a different snare groove and copy paste 3 times. So there you have it. No painting and changing patterns required. Beats can be modified directly from the channel rack. Like I said previously, FL Studio allows you to do the same thing in different ways. This is just an incomplete song structure having only verse and pre-chorus. You can make a full song structure with this example. And then you can come over here and press Alt-T on your keyboard to type in marker name. Let's name verse, and after 4 bars, you can type here pre-chorus if you want. If you want to listen in the channel rack, click this pattern mode over here. And if you want to listen in the playlist, press F5 on your keyboard and go to the playlist to listen to what you've just created. Click anywhere around here and it automatically changes to song mode. Or you can manually click here. Now bear in mind this is just a simple kick, snare and hi-hat beat. If you want, you can add other drums and percussion sound samples and make it sound groovy. Let me add some other samples and see what I get. So there it is. I've made a groovy drum track as opposed to simple basic sounding one. Let me add some bass and a basic piano melody as well. The same technique is applied. Since patterns 1 to 3 are used, select a fresh pattern, that is pattern 4, in which our bass is going to be. Click here that says Add New Channel. For simplicity, let me select this one called Boo Bass. Let me create a few bass lines that suits this groove. I've got my bass lines now, so let's add a piano melody too. Select a fresh pattern, that is pattern 5. Click here that says Add New Channel. I'm going to use FL keys for this example. Now I can say for others, but for me, before I randomly play with these notes, I always like to imagine the melody inside my head first. And after something clicks, I begin to program it. It always gives me good results, but it's not a must-do thing. Like I've always said, nothing has a specific rule that one has to follow. Sometimes one thing works and the other one doesn't, and vice versa. So feel free to try every method and don't be limited by a single one. So I've got this melody now that I'm gonna program it. There it goes. I've got my drums, bass, and piano. You can add many other instruments, lengthen the song structure itself, and make it fuller. So there we have it, our basic beat making lesson. If you still have any doubts, or still getting confused over some things you haven't still understood, let me know in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching.